Right now, not something you want to hear, but your heating bills are probably going up this winter.
Also, how the state legislature could be getting involved in the NFL draft in Green Bay.
And we're following news out of D.C., where the founder of the Oath Keepers has just been sentenced to prison for his role in the January 6th insurrection. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Everyone is looking forward to the Memorial Day holiday weekend, picnics, parades, and family get-togethers.
And after what may be an unseasonably cool evening, the next few days are going to be worth celebrating. Let's get a look at the first warned forecast. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti is out on the weather patio. Gary?
This is the way you like to see the weather heading toward the first weekend, the first holiday weekend of the summer, and it should be great. We've got plenty of sunshine out here right now. Let's take a look at the visible cloud track. You can see how the clouds have it's almost like there's been like a little explosion and everything just kind of rotates away from southern Wisconsin. Skies are clear across the state, and it looks like we're going to stay that way for a while. Doppler track, the nearest showers are in Iowa, and they're actually moving back toward the west. Again, a sign that high pressure is really starting to expand across the upper Midwest, and sitting right on top of us this time of year, it's really nice. Now, it does get cool at night. Last night, we had low temperatures in the upper 40s and lower 50s. They'll probably be a good 5 to 10 degrees colder than that tonight, but current temperatures are pretty comfortable away from Lake Michigan. Near the lake, temperatures are only in the 50s, but Madison's at 67. Temperatures are in the 70s. Closer to La Crosse here in Dane County, mainly 60s, although Cross Plains right now is at 70 degrees, 68 in Mount Horeb. And look for temperatures to drop into the lower 50s by late evening with mostly clear skies. Get used to the sunshine. It'll be around for a while. I'll have a forecast that includes warmer weather as we head into next week, and I'll tell you how warm it'll get in just a few minutes.
All right, Gary, thank you. Well, it's probably the last thing on your mind right now on May 25th, but running your furnace could cost you more than you're expecting this winter.
That's right. Wisconsin energy companies want to raise gas and electric rates next year, some by as much as 14%. And Braden Ross joins us to explain why. Braden?
Yeah, Madison Gas and Electric is looking to raise rates by 7% next year. Alliant Energy hoping to charge 14% more. Both MG&E and Alliant say the price hikes are thanks to rising natural gas and coal costs and new investments into clean energy infrastructure like solar panels and more efficient grids. But consumer advocates like Tom Content say companies need to find other ways to cut costs, namely their profit margins.
Our experts' analysis shows that our profit rates for our Wisconsin utilities are all higher than the national average and more than what they need to raise money on Wall Street. And this is something that really needs to be addressed.
The price increases need to be approved by the Public Service Commission, weighing both consumer and stakeholder interests. They'll take the summer to hear from all sides, including the public, before they make their final decision about rates.
Story we will continue to follow. Braden, thank you. The big fire at a Portage area recycling center is pretty much out tonight. The fire broke out Wednesday afternoon, and dozens of fire departments worked to contain it. A new set of personnel returned to the scene this morning, working with local excavators to work over the debris and help put out any remaining flames.
Well, they're going to have smoldering hot spots. We're never probably going to get it all out. There's places we can't reach, so we will we'll get out most of it, and then we'll probably have to come back again and check on it.
The origin and the cause of the fire are still under investigation, but the chief said last night that the fire spread quickly after a bale of cardboard caught on fire.
In Reedsburg, a woman hospitalized after a house fire earlier this week has died. The Sauk County coroner says Paige Ruddy died yesterday from injuries she suffered in the fire at a home in the 200 block of West 2nd Street. Firefighters rescued Ruddy from the second floor, and first responders took her to a nearby medical facility. Officials have not yet said what may have caused that fire. 3 other people were able to escape. In less than 2 years, Wisconsin will host the NFL draft.
The state is already starting to prepare for what's heading towards Titletown. Political reporter Will Keneally joins us to explain. Will?
So just want to put this in perspective. This is fascinating. The city of Green Bay itself is a little bit more than 100,000 people. Now the draft is expected to bring in an extra 240,000. So how do you prepare for that? The state is considering kicking in some money.
I can't tell you how excited I am as someone who grew up 6 blocks from Lambeau Field.
That child, now State Representative David Steffen, is working to secure state funding for the draft. According to his office, it would cost the Packers about $7.5 million to host the draft. The team estimates more than $1 million will come from themselves and are expecting to raise more than $4 million from other partners. Stefan hopes the state can kick in $2 million to bridge the gap.
The money is a grant that is designed to assist with costs related to waste management, public safety, parking. We're going to need a lot of support.
He's trying to work this funding into the state budget as part of the tourism package that will be taken up next week. We haven't heard much from the leaders of the budget writing committee, except that, quote, conversations are ongoing on the proposal.
You know, there's no guarantees on whether or not Joint Finance Committee will support the motion. I feel good about it.
That might put this funding in a little bit of a better shape than funding for another Wisconsin team, the Brewers. The governor was working to get stadium funding during this budget season.
The Brewers issue, it certainly is a bit of a different animal. You know, instead of it being at $8 of return for $1 of investment, it's really only about a $1.50 to $1 investment. So on the return.
So Stefan there estimates that the state would receive roughly $94 million in economic activity from hosting the draft. Reporting from the Capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Will, thank you. A Washington, D.C. judge sentenced the founder of the far-right group known as the Oath Keepers to 18 years in prison today for his part in the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. Stewart Rhodes will now go to prison on charges of seditious conspiracy and other crimes related to the attack on the Capitol. The 18-year sentence is the longest in a January 6th case so far. Rhodes called himself a political prisoner before his sentencing and likened himself to former President Donald Trump and promised to continue to challenge the Biden administration.
It was his words that led him to where he is and not his actions. There's no way that he was the leader or the director of what happened on January 6th. He was just a convenient target. The Oath Keepers were a convenient target. The DOJ looked at them and said, oh, here are the scapegoats of what happened on January 6th.
Rhodes' attorneys say they will appeal the sentence.
London police say one person was arrested after a car collided with the gates of Downing Street. That's where the British Prime Minister's home and offices are located. Police say a man was arrested at the scene on suspicion of criminal damage and dangerous driving. The Metropolitan Police Force said there were no reports of injuries. It was not immediately clear, though, if the crash was deliberate.
There is just 1 week left until the Treasury Department says the country is likely to run out of money to pay its bills. But today, both House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and President Biden say they're optimistic that a deal can be reached.
Now, I want to be clear that the negotiations we're having with Speaker McCarthy is about the outlines of what the budget will look like, not about default. It's about competing visions for America.
Nothing will be resolved till we solve them all. We know where our differences lie. We worked well in past midnight last night. We're back at it today, trying to get to the conclusion that we can solve this whole problem.
Lawmakers left Washington, D.C. for the Memorial Day weekend while the talks continue. The biggest sticking point remains spending.
We're at a sensitive phase with sensitive issues that remain. Those sensitive issues are the thorniest issues that we've been discussing.
Failure to reach an agreement would impact every American. Economists say that in addition to higher interest rates, defaulting would likely lead to a recession and millions of people losing their jobs.
A special honor today for a Vietnam War veteran. In a ceremony at the Madison Veterans Hospital, U.S. Army Captain Tyrone Tony Paulson was inducted into the Hall of Heroes at the hospital. Paulson earned 3 Bronze Stars for valor and 2 Commendation Medals for valor. After the war, he served as a dispatch supervisor for the Wisconsin State Patrol for 31 years.
Stealing a line from Lou Gehrig, I'm the luckiest man alive. I had 8 bullet holes through my uniform. A grenade landed between my legs and did not explode. A mortar round landed close to me and threw me into a foxhole. That same day, 23 men walked down a hill. 5 of us walked off.
Paulson has been a member of Adaptive Sportsmen for several years, supporting disabled individuals with hunting and fishing. He and his wife of 49 years, Susan, live in Madison. Congrats, very deserving, especially at this time of year.
Yes.
Still to come, your local forecast, and we'll tell you what the experts are expecting for the Atlantic hurricane season.
And if you're part of the millions of Americans hitting the road for the Memorial Day holiday weekend, some things to keep in mind for your travels. And then coming up at 6, what happens if you drop your phone in Lake Mendota and someone finds it a year later? You're going to want to see what happened next. That story's coming up at 6.
And on Wall Street, the Dow falls another 35 points. The Nasdaq posts strong earnings at Thursday trading, up 214 points. S&P adds 36, and we'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
20 years ago, the Amber Alert program came to Wisconsin.
And since that day, it's been used just 57 times, with those alert activations playing a role in a child's recovery in more than half of those uses. Amber Alerts have strict criteria. For example, a child has to be 17 or under and in danger of death or serious bodily harm. There also needs to be enough descriptive information for the child, the suspect, and the suspect vehicle.
Our state has a very robust dissemination process due to the strong and committed partnerships, all of which are dedicated to the success of the program and utilizing as many tools as possible when a child's life is in danger.
And that program started nationwide in response to the kidnapping and murder of a 9-year-old girl in Texas back in 1996, and the program is in her honor and it shares her name.
The travel rush for the Memorial Day weekend is underway tonight. More than 40 million people are expected to travel this holiday weekend, with air travel set to exceed pre-pandemic levels. These are the lines this morning inside JFK Airport in New York, where many were hoping to beat the rush. Today and tomorrow are expected to be the busiest times to travel. Experts say budget at least 2 hours for airport lines. The holiday weekend, of course, is considered the unofficial start to summer, and with it, the start of a busy travel season. And as millions head to the airport, the rideshare company Lyft is out with a first-of-its-kind feature at select U.S. airports. Customers can pre-order their ride as soon as their plane lands. The app will then match riders and drivers for the best pickup time, taking into account everything from the walk time through the terminal to the wait at baggage claim.
You watch people with the baggage claim, and they're like stressed about the baggage. Is my bag going to get off? All they want to do is get out. So we try to make it so that with our technology and our product and service, by the time you get to that curb, you're walking off the property or driving off.
The pre-order feature is currently available in Los Angeles and Chicago and is coming soon to Austin, Texas, Seattle, and JFK Airport in New York. The new feature comes as the company finds itself in a rebuilding phase. Lyft's stock is down nearly 90% since it went public in 2019, and it cut more than 1,000 jobs in April.
Much of the U.S. Western Pacific territory of Guam was without power and water today after a typhoon packing ferocious winds and torrential rains battered the island, but caused no reported fatalities or any major injuries. Guam residents have been ordered to boil their water until further notice as crews repair generators damaged by Typhoon Mawar. Crews were working to restore electricity, giving priority to critical infrastructure such as hospitals and wastewater facilities, then to homes and businesses. Meanwhile, the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season begins June 1st here in the U.S., and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration came out with its predictions today on how many named storms and hurricanes can be expected this season.
NOAA is predicting a near-normal 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. Specifically, there is a 40% chance of a near-normal season, a 30% chance of an above-normal season, and a 30% chance of a below-normal season.
He says their predictions include 1 to 4 major hurricanes ranking in Category 3 or above, and winds of at least 111 miles per hour. No storms in our forecast. Things a little dry here, but Gary now with a closer look at the hurricane season.
Yeah, just starting. Usually it starts right around June 1st, and you can see the peak of hurricane season is right around September 11th. So there was a big ramp up in the number of storms as we go from late July into August and early September, and then a drop off as we head into October. But the early season storms tend to favor areas closer to the United States, especially in the Gulf of Mexico because the waters are a little bit warmer here than they are farther out into the Atlantic Ocean, but also the southern portion of the southern portion of the Caribbean, south of Cuba, another area that has to be watched. And sometimes you even get storms that form off of the Carolina coast. Those tend to be a little bit weaker. But again, as the season goes on, we'll see the storms develop farther out into the Atlantic Ocean. They'll have more energy as they move inland. Three things you need to know in our forecast. It'll be cool with low temperatures around 40 degrees overnight and middle 40s for tomorrow night. But we have a beautiful Memorial Day weekend with a warming trend taking our temperatures up into the lower 80s by Sunday and Memorial Day itself. And dry weather is expected through most of next week. Right now, the only rain we have in the forecast is chances for showers and thunderstorms Thursday afternoon and Friday afternoon. Friday probably the better of the 2 days for chances, but it'll be even warmer with high temperatures around 90 for Wednesday and Thursday and upper 80s on Friday. You can see on Doppler track about the only rain is out across parts of western Iowa. And notice those showers are moving away. They're heading off toward the west as high pressure just kind of expands over the upper Midwest. Now, the center of that high pressure system is located up across parts of upper Michigan, and that's where temperatures last night were dropping into the 20s and lower 30s. Here in Madison, we stayed at 49, but notice Green Bay was down to 40 and Rhinelander just above freezing. And tonight, there are frost advisories and freeze warnings for parts of northeastern Wisconsin, as well as much of lower Michigan, because temperatures there could drop into the upper 20s and lower 30s. But take a look at rainfall. This is through Sunday of next weekend, so 10 days down the road. Probably about less than 1/4 of an inch of rain over much of southern Wisconsin, northern parts of the state, not looking at very much at all. If you have to get into parts of northern Minnesota before you get into the more active storm track where there'll be more showers and thunderstorms. But notice the 8 to 14-day precipitation outlook taking us through pretty much the first week of June, still calling for below normal precipitation and above normal temperatures from here westward, the southern part of the country, seeing the more active weather with more clouds, precipitation, and cooler temperatures. Planning your night across Dane County, low temperatures, well, for some reason our graphics have gone away there, but we are looking for low temperatures right around 40 degrees. And for the rest of southern Wisconsin, temperatures a little bit warmer, closer to La Crosse, probably middle 40s there. For tomorrow, look for a high temperature of 74 degrees with mostly sunny skies and a milder day. As we check out your first warned 7 to 10-day forecast, lots of sunshine and very little in the way of precipitation. We go from 74 tomorrow to 77 Saturday, 81 Sunday, 83 Monday. You kind of get the idea here. By Wednesday and Thursday, we're up around 90, but the humidity levels will be low enough that the heat should be tolerable. Friday, chance for a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon, maybe a slight chance Thursday afternoon, and then temperatures drop off by a few degrees, but stay in the lower 80s for next weekend, again with dry weather expected. As we check out our first warned traffic right now, seeing some delays on the eastbound belt line between about Stoughton Road and John Nolan Drive. A little bit of a slowdown northbound on I-3990 at the Badger Interchange. And then also seeing some slowdowns around Middleton on the western portion of the Beltline. As far as travel times are concerned, add about 7 to 8 minutes on the eastbound Beltline between University Avenue and I-3990. The normal 16 minutes going back in the westbound direction and 18 minutes coming inbound from Sun Prairie. Outbound from the Beltline to Janesville on I-3990 takes you 25 minutes, 17 minutes middle to Sauk City on US 12 and 18, and then downtown to Sun Prairie on US 151 is 18 minutes. That's your News 3 Now first warned traffic.
Gary, thank you. Coming up, how a Purple Heart veteran continues to serve his country, keeping war memorials clean for visitors. That's ahead of this special holiday weekend, next at 5.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
If you've ever been to the National Mall in Washington, you've probably noticed how immaculate it's kept.
A lot of that is due to volunteers who are coordinated by the National Park Service. Joy Wang talked to a veteran about why he continues to serve his country in a very different way.
A typical day for Park Ranger James Pierce includes being surrounded by a group of volunteers.
Make sure you leave like a little bit of a ring around the tree.
Teaching them how to keep the National Mall looking beautiful. Today, it's spreading mulch around the Yoshino cherry trees.
What's unique about these trees, they actually connect underground with their root systems.
5 days a week, he's working with different groups, doing a little bit of everything as a volunteer coordinator.
We plant flowers, we put down mulch, and we pick up trash. Look behind you, you have your brooms on the top.
On weekends, you'll find Pierce near the memorials, washing the walls.
The mission with the Park Service is very similar to the United States Army, is that we have a mission. I like being outside, I like working outdoors, but more importantly, I like to give back to this great nation.
In fact, Pierce has been serving this country since joining the North Carolina National Guard when he was just 18 years old. He's deployed 3 times to Iraq in 2005, on a humanitarian mission to El Salvador in 2011, as well as to Afghanistan in 2012.
In Afghanistan, it was very difficult. I lost 3 of my teammates, and I'm one of 3 survivors. I was hit by a suicide bomber in Afghanistan.
This Purple Heart veteran medically retired in 2015, but he never stopped serving.
I'm standing on the shoulders of all the fallen service members, especially when you're watching the Vietnam Wall and you're reaching your hand out. You can see your reflection, but also the gravity of the situation of where you're at and what you're doing and what it means.
A story he'll often share with the volunteers he works with.
But that's the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Go to the war memorials and reflect of what the cost of war is. Freedom is not free, and many have paid the ultimate sacrifice to enjoy the land that we love so much.
A land he'll keep protecting, just in a different uniform.
Thank you for your service. Well, thank you. And we keep it beautiful for everyone, to include our veterans.
That's great work, and this weekend is a perfect time to visit those monuments as the country remembers military members who died in service on Memorial Day.
And we're back with the final check of your First One forecast in just a moment.
We've got a lot of news coming up. Memorial Day is around the corner, which means many Americans will be hitting the beach. Tonight, our Eye on America goes eye to eye with the great white sharks off the East Coast that are lurking beneath the water. That's tonight here on the CBS Evening News.
Finally, tonight, a tribute to music legend Tina Turner, who died yesterday, from the staff of the U.S. Embassy in Australia. This video posted shows embassy workers in Australia dancing the Nutbush, named for Turner's 1973 hit Nutbush City Limits. The embassy called the Nutbush Australia's unofficial national dance. According to reports, the country has a strange love affair with the dance, which is called a staple at Australian weddings and parties.
Oh, that's very nice.
A tribute to Tina Turner. Let's go to Gary. Final check of the forecast.
Lots of sunshine out there. Take a look at this live view from the WISC-TV Skycam. You can see Blue Mountains right on the western horizon there. That's how clear it is. Platteville, same thing. Not a cloud in the sky. Pretty much across the entire state. Temperatures right now, the graphics keep not updating, but right now we're generally in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. Look for temperatures to drop off into the middle 50s by late evening. Low tonight of about 40, so a little chilly, but we get back to the 70s for tomorrow and in the 80s by Sunday and Memorial Day, and 90s by the middle of next week, or around 90 by Wednesday and Thursday.
Warm up is coming. Gary, thank you. We'll be back in 30 minutes with News 3 Now at 6. The CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell is up next. Stay tuned.